What's going on, everybody? REKracers here, back with another video. Today I will be teaching you guys how to dominate as Captain Phasma. After applying these tips in my own games, I've been able to get massive kill streaks of 30 plus kills and been able to get first multiple times on the HVB leaderboard. So in this Star Wars Battlefront 2 Captain Phasma guide, we are going to be going over her blaster, abilities, star cards, and strategies that you need to know to wreak some havoc on the battlefront with Captain Phasma. First, let's get into the blaster, which is probably the #1 amount of complaints that people have for Captain Phasma. Captain Phasma comes equipped with an F11D blaster. #1 thing that people complain about this blaster is its high spread. This high spread can sometimes cause it to be very inaccurate, but I am here to tell you guys how to fix this problem. Any other blasters, tap firing is used to lower the spread and make the accuracy higher. However, this is not how you want to go for Captain Phasma. I have found that if you hold down the trigger instead of tapping it, the spread gets smaller and smaller until it is actually a very accurate blaster. As you see in this clip, the blaster starts out very inaccurate but gets more and more accurate the longer you hold it down, as you can see by the markings on the wall. Captain Phasma's blaster also has a dual zoom feature, so it can zoom in twice, even further in, to make it even more effective at all ranges. Enough of the blaster, now let's get into the abilities. Phasma is often viewed as the least powerful and worst villain, and her first ability definitely contributes to some of that. Her first ability is the Staff Strike. This ability has Captain Phasma unfold her staff and give it one good whip around to hit any enemies near. When chained together, you can chain it together 3 times, and if you chain it together, the third move does increased damage. This ability is definitely underwhelming, and I bet in the future it will get a buff. So if you're watching this in a month or so from now, it'll probably be a lot better. If you're watching this and there hasn't been a buff, then the best thing to do with this is to just stay away from this move. It has such a lengthy animation that just leaves you vulnerable for so much time, and it has such little range that it's just not worth using. So I advise just don't use it. Her second ability is a major upgrade from the Staff Strike and is actually very useful. And this is Survivor. It is very similar to Yoda's Presence and Finn's Big Deal. What it does is it gives Phasma extra health for the duration of the ability, and it also lasts after the ability. So, and we can also make this even better with the star cards I will mention later on in this video. This ability is great for Phasma because it gives her even more health, and she already starts at 700, which is pretty high if you're going against other heroes. And so this just makes her even more of a tank, able to withstand even more damage and still deal out heavy bits of it herself. Her third and final ability is her First Order droid, and this is by far Phasma's best ability and her standout ability. She places down a droid with a pretty big radius, and when enemies get in that radius, it can shoot at them and stun them. Now this is great for heroes versus villains if your team decides to stick with you, because you can just come in one corner of the room, and then if someone is the target and then other heroes come for you, the droid could freeze them, and then the rest of the team can finish them off. That's pretty much it for her abilities. So let's get on to the star cards that can make her abilities the best they can possibly be. Before I tell you guys the best star cards, I just want to say don't get any of the Staff Strike upgrades because they're just not worth it, guys. Just trust me on this one, you don't want to use them. Star card I have for you guys is mainly for Galactic Assault, and that is Easy Shots. So whenever Phasma defeats an enemy, her heat will be reduced. The reason this is good is because her blaster does heat up pretty quickly, and once it does overheat, the low spread you have will be gone. But if you defeat an enemy with this equipped, you'll still be able to keep the low spread. The next star card I have here on my list is for Galactic Assault and HVV players alike, and that is not hard enough. And this allows Captain Phasma to have damage reduction when Survivor is active. So you're going to have more health, and the health will have even harder time going away. So you'll be able to be even more of a tank, and you'll just be able to go in the middle of messes and come out unscathed. Now this next card is good for both game modes, but mainly HVV, and that is the more the better. And this allows the First Order Sentry Droid to have higher rotation speed. So if a fast hero is coming in to get you and you're behind your droid trying to be safe, and they start running in, this gives your droid a faster reaction time pretty much to be able to stun them for you to either get away or finish them off. Next and final star card I'll be going over with you guys is Safety First, and this allows Captain Phasma to gain more health when using Survivor, so she can get even bigger of an advantage over enemies. So I decided to buy these three because they are by far the best for Captain Phasma. Now on to the final and probably the most important part, the strategy. When playing as Captain Phasma, the combat roll is your best friend. However, you'll only be able to use 2 in quick succession before it times out, and you have to wait just a little bit before doing it again. Combat roll is great all around, and it works especially well for lightsaber users. Every attack a lightsaber user has, every swing has its own mini lock-on, and the best way to avoid this lock-on is to roll out of it. As you go through the combat roll and they miss their swing, they'll still have to finish that animation before they can go on and get to you the next time. So while they're still going through that animation of attacking you, even though they have already missed, that's a great time to get a few extra shots off. The best way to use Captain Phasma is by using her as a support hero. As Captain Phasma, you want to help out your teammates as much as possible rather than trying to do everything yourself. If you're playing as Phasma, the lightsaber villains will be able to do way more damage than you. However, if you use your droid to stun them, you will be able to help out your teammates as much as possible and maybe even finish off a few of those enemies yourself. Phasma is usually played best when you have a squad for HVV where you know everyone in the game and they're all your friends and you all can contact them and communicate. This way the entire team stays together, and while you all are bunched up, Phasma can place her droid, and anyone who comes near will be completely and utterly demolished by your entire team. Another great way to use Captain Phasma greatly and heavily relies on the dual scope of her blaster. The way you should use this dual zoom is to stay far away from all the heroes, but still keeping your eye on them. This way you can do heavy damage by staying nowhere near them and taking no damage yourself. However, sometimes this just doesn't go as well as we think it can, so here's what I'm going to tell you to do if you ever get in close combat with a lightsaber here. The number one rule that you need to remember if you're in close combat with a lightsaber hero is don't panic. Some of you guys are probably going to panic and just start spamming the blaster, not knowing what to do because Luke Skywalker's coming at you and he's coming in fast. But all you have to do is just stay calm and focus on the fundamentals. The fundamentals consist of major do's and don'ts. Fundamentals make an acronym which is RDS. So first we'll be going over the R. The R means roll. You cannot forget to roll. This is the most important part of all the fundamentals to avoid that mini lock-on and take advantage while they're still in that animation. D in RDS stands for droid. If they are at a distance and you know they're coming, or you hear them coming, or you just see them coming, then you have to place down your droid. This is a very, very important step. As they get closer, the droid will be able to start shooting at them and stunning them. If you're too low on health, you can run away and then consider it a close encounter, but be able to get away unscathed. However, if you are full on health and the droid starts stunning them, what I suggest you do is start shooting them as fast as possible, and then once they make it out of the droid's way and they're chasing you down, you want to try to make your way back to the droid so you can stun them again and then do even more damage. The S, the final part of the acronym, is a staff. Whatever you do, do not use your staff. If you try to use your staff, they're just going to hit you before you can fully execute the animation, and you're not even going to hit them. So whatever you do, no matter how tempting it is, do not use the staff. Even if it does hit them, by the time you fully finish the animation, you will have been able to do way more damage with the blaster. So when you are in close quarters combat with anyone with a lightsaber who can do a lot of damage to you, just remember RDS and you should be just fine. With all this in mind, I view Phasma a certain way that may be different than the way you guys view it. I view Captain Phasma as a jack of all trades, but a master of none. She is a good all-around hero. She can shoot super far away, but she's not great at it. She can do close quarters combat, but she's not a master of it. She can do many things, but she's not the best at it. So this makes for a great all-around villain. In conclusion, Captain Phasma is absolutely menacing in the correct hands, and if you use her right, you can beat just about anyone on the Battlefront. So I hope this guide helped you guys out. If it did, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I always love reading them. And yeah, that's the end of the video. This is REKracers signing off. Peace.